It's that time of year. Load up my gun, put on my gear, creep through the woods.
Welcome back to the Healthy Hunter Show. I'm Dr. Brooks Tiller, and today I have Hunter McWaters on. He is an adventurer. He is a hunter. He has some experience of life that is going to bring a little bit extra to us. It's going to show us some things, going to open up a little bit more about the fitness and health lifestyle, but also we're going to talk about just as he has the hunter's quest, the quest of a hunter, not only himself, but as we are hunters, the quest for just living a great life. So today, it is my honor to welcome Hunter McWaters to the show. Welcome, Hunter. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey man, thanks for having me. It's fun being on this side of the mic for once.
Yeah, man. You got your own show going on, but I know that's a good thing. But let's start it off and just share a little about what's something good going on in your world today.
Something good going on in my world. Yeah, just man, there's been so much good stuff happening these last couple years. If you've listened to any of my podcasts and stuff like that, it's been a journey, and so it, man, there's so much. But I guess a couple things. Yesterday, I booked tickets for my second trip to Alaska. So I'm going to Kodiak in August, and planning on doing a filmed hunt there for Sitka blacktail deer. Really looking forward to that. That was actually a Christmas present from my wife, which is amazing. Um, and yeah, just God is good, man. Just working on this kind of passion project. My podcast released a couple months ago. Got some really cool guests I've already recorded with, and some more lined up. I'm working on a book actually now as well. It's going to be a spiritual fitness program, so it's like a really practical guide, 12-week thing to helping people that are really intentional and want to grow spiritually, but maybe don't know how or have the tools, but like to have a plan. Because just like with physical fitness, you need a plan, you know. So hoping to help people out with that, and so yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on lately.
Man, that's awesome. That's I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I know I saw the airline booking
Oh yeah,
that you made. Yeah, that's awesome that your wife is supporting what you're doing. And I think it's
yeah.
really cool the way that you are kind of sharing your journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I've had a few conversations with some other folks, and kind of helped me realize that I need to share more of the journey that I'm on
Yeah,
instead of I think we oftentimes we want to look like the expert. We want to look like
absolutely.
we are the one in control, that because you see somebody, and I learned this when I first got into the fitness industry. I was talking to a guy and I was like, man, I want to do what you're doing. And he's like, you can't get to where I'm at without being where you are. And it was that,
Yeah,
I wanted to be there, and I
yeah,
wanted to be the guy working on Peyton Manning's neck,
yeah,
and I'd only been out of school for, 6 months. And he's like, you have to be,
exactly.
he's
Yeah,
like, you can't compare yourself today to who I am. He's like, you just, and I feel like, um, seeing you and hearing you on your show talking about, your hunter's quest, your journey.
yeah.
I think that's one thing that in the big social media today, we just see the highlights and we always
Mm-hmm.
compare our lowest point to somebody else's high point. And you think, man, that guy, all he does is hunt, because every
Yeah,
picture he's in the woods, but like, you don't realize he's working 60 hours a week just to hunt one
yeah,
day a
man.
week or whatever. So, and I think that's
Yeah,
really
it's
key that we focus on that. I really appreciate that you're doing that, uh, for everybody. And I'm really pumped, man. I'm excited to see this spiritual fitness book, because that is something that is, I think we really need right now.
yeah. Yeah, man, it's you got to really embrace the process and love the process. Like there's this, nobody wants to hear that because everybody wants the tip or the trick that's going to make you, the overnight success. But the thing is, I've been hearing this quote that I heard recently. It's just been over and over my head is um, exceptional people are just normal people that do unexceptional things an exceptional amount of times. So it really is just about consistency, trajectory, making the small decisions even when you don't feel like it, that are aligning with your long-term stated values and goals, and just being consistent day in and day out and just grinding, even if you don't feel like it. And that's what it's all about, man. And yeah, I'm definitely, when I started this journey, I realized that so many guys want to seem like the expert and they got it all together. But really where we add value, or at least where I can add value, is I've been in the lowest of lows. I've been in those dark places that people don't want to talk about. I've been uh, physically and mentally addicted to hard drugs, and I've been obese, and I've had to crawl my way out. And obviously the Lord and my faith was a huge part of that, and I couldn't do it without him. But it also took a lot of hard work and time and effort. So I'm just very open with people saying, hey, I'm not an expert. I knew people could value for my journey and would realize right away that I'm not an expert, so I'm just not going to hide it. So it's been a fun process. You just got to learn to love the process, man.
Oh, I completely agree. And that's the way that I tell people. They think they're like, oh, you have a doctorate. I'm not that smart. I'm just really stubborn.
Yeah.
It's like you just keep going to school so long, and they're like, well, like you're done. Like here, like
Yeah.
what do you want us to write on this piece of paper so you'll leave us alone and you'll go do something else? And it's just really like a stick to itness.
Mhm.
And you mentioned there that in your life you've had some definite struggles.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite quotes, mottos, is that you have to be tougher than life. And I think that's really key. And I think that's something that you demonstrate in real life. And if you would just share a little bit of maybe how you face those demons, you face those hard times,
Mm.
and what you did to overcome. And I mean, you whether it be the physical side, the addiction side, but just kind of overall, maybe some tips and things
Yeah.
that would help others tackle those obstacles in their way.
Sure. So, yeah, man, it's my journey has been a long story, and I'll try to distill it a little bit. But the main thing is sometimes you find yourself in a place in life where you need help and you need to ask for help. And that's where I allowed myself to get to as far as the addiction goes. I got to a point where I just realized I had nothing left inside me. My faith was pretty much gone. I was just depressed. My family was falling apart. And so I remember I called my dad one day just in tears, like, and just kind of came out with it. It's like, I need help. I've been hiding this too long. Anyway, so I actually did have to go to treatment for that. And I went away for 30 days and all that stuff. And hopefully your listeners won't have to go through all that, but hey, maybe someone out there listening does. But so I needed to ask for help. And then also, I mean, my faith is the number one thing. I believe that has helped me to persevere, is having that relationship with the Lord. And so, it's my faith. I got out. I was able to put some clean time together, and then people don't realize, I think a lot of times today in our society, how we are triune beings. We are spirit, soul, and body. And in the Western world, I think we really try to compartmentalize them as individual pieces and forget that they're all together as one whole. And so, like, I had a friend just the other day, texted me like, man, I'm so like depressed and like anxious and stuff. And like, I'm like, well, dude, you're eating garbage, you're not moving your body at all, you're overweight, and you're not spending any time with the Lord, in the Bible and praying and meditating. So you're completely ignoring your body and your spirit, and you're expecting your soul to be healthy, and that's not going to happen, man. So like there's no pill you can take. I mean, you might take a pill and feel happy for a couple of days, but that's going to lead you down the wrong road. But the thing is, it just goes back to consistency, discipline, hard work, and asking the Lord first for help, giving your life to him if you haven't yet. And then realizing we are 3-part beings, and you got to, like I do every single day. I wake up before my kids. I spend an hour or so about and, you know, with the Lord, meditating, praying, reading the Bible, etc. And then I hit the exercise. I go for a run, and then I go to a CrossFit class. And then, you know, the rest of my day, because of my schedule, I work from home, I'm able to be very flexible with my work time, but, you know, also work as a part of that, and family balance. But you got to take care of your spirit, your soul, and your body, or else you're going to be out of whack.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. And like you said, I was thinking last night, actually, you know, my wife, she made food. I mean, it's all healthy food, and we're sitting there eating it. And then, you know, it's like I pulled out a book, and then I'm playing with the kids, and the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, it's like you're feeding your body, you're feeding your mind, you're feeding your soul, and whatever you feed, that's what's going to come out. And
Sure, yeah.
so many of the patients that I see, they come in and they want that bullet, that magic pill, and they want, oh, I want this. I'm like, it's going to take a little bit of time. Like, you know,
Yeah.
your knees hurt, your back hurts, your neck hurts, your body's sore all over. Like, you know, we do 5 minutes of exercise and you're winded. Like, it's going to take a while to get
Yeah.
back to where you want to be. And I think that's one of the things, you know, we have to be patient with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, we have to be able to reach out, and nobody is an expert at everything.
Right.
You know, I recently went to a course, and there the guy was saying, hey, has anybody ever shot a pistol? You know, are you familiar with shooting pistols? And I knew the guy knew a lot about shooting pistols. So having knowledge of shooting a pistol is relative.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't even raise my hand. I was like, this guy's forgot more than I'll ever learn. So I'm just going to, like, you teach me like I've never touched one. And I learned so much by coming into the, like, you're an expert, you know what you're doing. Let me just learn and soak it up. And I think that's key. Piece. Yeah, exactly. And I think, whether it's on the hunting side, the fitness side, the spiritual side, I think asking that question, or just being in that place of, will you help me? Being
Mm-hmm.
able to just verbalize that, I think is so critical for us to just be the best that we can.
Sure.
You know, if we always like, I know everything, then we can get in a bad spot. And you know, if I'm the only one that I trust and that I lean into, if I'm trusting myself to know everything, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that goes back to a concept like in recovery. You know, basically you listen to because people come in, even people coming in from addiction, they come in thinking they know everything. And it's like, you know, your life is perfectly designed for the results you're getting. That's something I got from this guy, Ryan Muncie, author. But you've been listening to yourself and doing what you thought was right, and look where you are. You know, you're overweight, your body's sore, you're addicted to whatever. So, and for me, it started with asking the Lord for help. And then sometimes you got to ask another human for help too. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, that humility piece is huge, man.
Oh yeah. And like you said, I mean, what you do today is going to determine what you do or who you are tomorrow.
Yeah.
And every day you have that choice of, if I eat healthy food, I feel better tomorrow. But if I eat junk food, I'm probably not going to feel like getting up and working out tomorrow. And so it's that snowball. I guess it, you know, the old mythology of pushing the rock up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're pushing the rock up the hill, it is a struggle, but you're getting better and you're getting stronger. And I always think about, but if you let the rock go, that's kind of like just giving up, and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to sit on the couch. I'm going to eat a bunch of junk food.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to watch and binge a bunch of shows that probably are not good for my mind or my soul.
Yeah.
And doing those kind of things. And we have that choice. Do we want to push the rock up the hill and get better, or are we going to let it roll down the hill and just give up and never get better?
Yeah. And I love that analogy too, because like you said, man, when you stop pushing that rock, it doesn't stay there and wait till you come back next week and hit the gym again. It's going to roll down.
Right.
It's like rowing a boat upstream. You stop rowing, you're going the other way. You ain't staying where you are.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're either going to get better or you're going to get worse.
Yeah.
There's no, no man crosses the same stream twice because it's not the same stream. It's not the same man. And that's so critical because it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, you're always going to get better or get worse at something.
Yep. That's right.
There's always something you can get better at for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you grew up in Virginia.
Yeah.
So, and you grew up hunting and fishing. So how did you get, kind of turn it a little bit, just go back a little bit. How did you get into hunting? And
Sure.
then how did that play into that and the outdoors? How did that play into maybe your recovery and
Sure.
in your getting healthy and getting in shape? Because you sent me a photo and it was very, very impressive. The change that you've made, very noticeable.
Yeah, man. So, it's blessed to have a really awesome dad and parents. So when I was growing up, my dad take me fishing, and he started taking me hunting when I was probably 7 or 8. He started taking me out with them. I think around 8, he gave me my first shotgun, little 20 gauge youth model Remington, and killed a dove on my first ever outing with that thing, which is pretty good for like an 8-year-old. So anyway, so I've been hunting forever, and then about the age of 14, we just kind of randomly got permission to deer hunt on this farm on the eastern shore of Virginia. It's a peninsula across the Chesapeake Bay near where I live, and just some really amazing deer hunting over there. And so, and also it's a non-rifle county, and my dad grew up bow hunting, so I got into bow hunting. And man, it was just, see, I went out that first night out there on that property and watched like 14 or 15 deer come out in this field. And it just, I don't know, man, like my dad's more of a bird hunter, but for some reason I just really just fell in love with deer hunting. And so I just became obsessed with it. I was like reading deer hunting magazines and watching the videos of the, Drury Outdoors videos and all those guys. And I talk about a lot of this in my intro episode. So if you've heard that, forgive me for repeating, but like I remember bringing in into my math class, like in middle school, I had my math book, and then inside I had like a graph paper, and I was just totally zoned out, like drawing maps of the farm and like figuring out which wind directions were good for which stands. And just, I was just obsessed, man. And, in high school, I didn't really party a whole lot. Like I kind of went hunting every weekend, and if I was able to, I'd go before school or after school. And so that was good. But then, then in college, I got real into kind of the music scene, and, started smoking pot and drinking, and that just evolved and just kind of got worse. And I started getting into harder stuff. And so I was, by the time I got out of college, I had a real bad habit on opioids, and that got even worse. I had some ups and downs. I'd get clean for a little bit and then kind of go back. And I'm condensing the story quite a bit for time, but and it eventually just got really bad. And I was addicted to fentanyl and was on that stuff all day, every day, as well as still smoking marijuana and everything else. So, but throughout this whole time, kind of one of the main constants in my life, because things have changed so much in my life, but hunting was always there. Even when I was in my really like worst times, I still would find I don't know what it is, I would manage to get myself into a tree stand. I didn't do it as much sometimes, but it was always there. I always had that love for hunting, even in my worst times. So anyway, fast forward to that, I got married. My wife has been a huge help to me in my life, big supporter. Got clean. I've got 2 kids now, and then I guess so. I've been, like I said, I've been clean 5 years, but I guess it was like maybe about 3 years ago or something. I was clean, and I was on the path to getting healthier and putting more consistent work into building my spirit back and my faith. But I was just eating everything in sight and not exercising. And you know, it was okay for times. I think in my mind I was like, well, at least I'm not doing drugs, but I was still eating. And so then it got to the point where I was literally like, okay, this is gross. Like I felt like a slob. I was like embarrassed to take my shirt off in front of my wife. And like I was like, something's gotta change. So we were in a community group from church, and a buddy of mine who's like an ultra runner and super in shape dude. I talked to him. He kind of helped me out with some nutrition stuff, started writing some programming for me. I just started hitting the gym a little bit, and that went well. I think I lost like 40 or 50 pounds, just kind of on my own. But then, so I went down to about I was at 250, went down to about 200. Then, you know, life happened. I just kind of got lax with it, fell in a rut or whatnot, because I was working out alone, you know. And so, you know, I fall in the trap of like, okay, go to the gym, do some bicep curls, you know, some benches, and then leave, kind of thing, you know. And and then I started. I was like, I need to change something up, because I'd gained back to about 215 or something. And so then I joined a CrossFit gym, and something about the community and the workouts being written for me and being different every day. I really got into that. And so I've been doing that for about a year, and then it's just been in progression, man. And then so last year, my buddy, well, it's kind of a friend of a friend, is semi-random, but invited me on this trip to go to Alaska. And it was funny because the Lord's timing is perfect, because I was already like really looking into the world of Western hunting and wanting to get into Western hunting, but not really knowing how. It can be very intimidating for guys that are getting into it and don't really know. So anyway, and I looked at it before, but kind of gave up on it because it just seemed too much. But I was in a better spot in my life at this point, and my buddy asked me to go to Alaska, and I was able to say yes to that trip. And then that just like lit a fire under me and just opened up a whole new world. It was like, it's like I started hunting again from scratch, because, and I'm not knocking deer hunting. I still deer hunt. Like I hunted deer hunting a ton this year. I still, you know, tree stand hunting. It's cool. But there's something different about putting, you know, 5-7 days worth of food and camp in your back and just you know, getting deep in the wilderness. The sense of adventure is just next level. The physical and mental challenge. And so when he invited me on this trip, I realized like, okay, because he kind of sold me on the trip, right? Like, oh, you know, it won't be that bad, you know. But I started looking at it, I was like, dude, you know, we're gonna have to backpack like at least 5 to 7 miles in. It's mountains, it's tundra. We're gonna have days of camp and rifles and everything else on our back. Like, and he's former Navy special warfare, so he's like in top shape. And so I'm like, dude, I gotta like get serious about this. So I started just listening to podcasts about fitness, about Western hunting, about training, and then I started really watching my diet and getting healthy on what I was eating, and so really it was hunting that really catapulted me into this next level. And just having a goal in mind to train for, and I just went off, man. And then so then I went from, like I said, I was at 215. Now I'm at 175, and like strongest I've ever been in my life. Like I pretty much told myself like my body type, like I will never have visible abs. That's just not possible for me. And you know, not that that's the only like, you know, benchmark for like health or anything like that, but I'm at a place physically I thought was impossible, just by consistency. You know, obviously the Lord helping me, consistency, hard work, and nutrition. And it's just been like, you know, me starting my podcast and just starting this book, everything has just been blossoming. And a lot of it really started with this rebirth into Western backpack style hunting.
Yeah. I think a few things there. One, you talk about having a goal, and
Yeah.
and the having a goal is, it's one of those things it's gonna push you, but it gives you that like, this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Your why.
Yeah. And you know, and sometimes, you know, your why at first, like, well, I want to get in shape, I want to feel better, but that may wane off. But then again, like
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, well, okay, I've got to go to the next level if I'm going to do this hunt, or if I'm going to achieve this goal, if I'm going to do a Spartan race or whatever it is, like I've got to
Yeah.
do a little bit better. And so I think that's always taken to that next level, and being around people that are at the next level.
Absolutely.
And I think,
It's huge.
or just knowing you're going to be around them. And I
Mhm.
think that, like you said, like, spiritually or mentally or physically or however you want to look at it, if you got somebody around you who is just a little bit ahead of you, like you're striving to be up there, and you can learn from them and
Mhm.
let them kind of pull you up, and you're going to that. And then at the same time, we can look back to other people that maybe we're ahead of, and we can help them. And like you said, that hunt, how it revived you. I felt the same way. A couple years ago, I was invited to go out on an elk hunt to Idaho,
Nice.
and I was like, I was invited out with people that knew what they were doing. I'd been elk
Yeah.
hunting once before, and pretty much I spent 4 days just walking around the woods like I was deer hunting, and like didn't have a clue. And I didn't know how to call. It was
Yeah.
just, it was a very expensive camping trip in the woods. That's all
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
And but this time, we went out, and it was like, hey, we're going, and everything's on your back. We're going 20 miles back in the country, and
Mm.
like we're not seeing anybody for the next week. We're going to go so far back that we're going to be away from everybody and hopefully find some elk. And just that experience, even, I mean, I was blessed to be able, I killed a cow with my bow, and
Nice.
and all together, there was four of us, we actually brought two elk out that week. But
Nice.
that experience, I was a new hunter in that experience, and that
Yeah.
really lit the fire in me to share what I knew. Like I still do not feel confident that I could take someone elk hunting. I don't feel that I'm that good at it as an elk hunter after one real
Right.
successful hunt. But if you want a turkey hunt, if you want a deer hunt, I feel like I can take you, and I can show you, and I can teach you.
Mhm.
And that kind of lit my fire. And I think that's one thing that's really good for us to do is, we reach out to people who know more, who are better at certain aspects, like we
Yeah.
talked about, but then those things that you're better at, that you may be more of an expert at, you can help them or help someone else. And it's that encouragement, but also that bringing others into the fold of hunting. And,
Totally.
and have you seen that, or have you been able to share hunting with some other folks that maybe otherwise may have been either anti-hunting or even just neutral and don't care about hunting, and just
Yeah.
kind of got involved because of some of your experiences?
Yeah, I mean, not as much as I would like, because where I'm at, there's very limited public land resources around here, and so it's hard enough to find spots for yourself to hunt, let alone to bring somebody. I am in a hunt club around here because that's pretty much your only option unless you own land around here where I'm at. And the guest policy is pretty strict, but I have been able to like there's actually one of my CrossFit coaches has gotten very into guys like Cam Hanes and stuff like that through running. And he actually bought a bow just because he wanted to kind of get into it. So I've been mentoring him a little bit on that side and stuff like that. But probably the closest kind of thing to what you're getting at, even though it's not completely what you asked, is, so, my buddy kind of took me on this Alaska trip, and I really knew nothing about Western hunting, about anything. He's taught me so much. And so this year, and this is a great just kind of tip for guys. I'm actually leading a group. It'll be my dad, who's a hunter, but not really a big game hunter. My cousin, who's a casual hunter, like he'll go, but he's not really like, going out there spending his time and money unless it's like, he's a casual hunter. And then his dad, who is a fairly prolific hunter, but never done a Western hunt and always dreamed of doing an antelope hunt. Well, actually, he did get drawn for the Kentucky bull elk tag a few years ago and did actually get a nice bull on that hunt.
Nice.
But he's always wanted to go out on a pronghorn antelope hunt, and that's a really good place for guys to start who want to get into Western hunting, and especially like kind of DIY style, because there's a lot of animals. You can get on a pretty decent unit with very small or even no point buildup. So anyway, so I went from knowing nothing and wanting to get into it last year to this year. Actually, I'm the group organizer and leading this kind of family group. It's gonna be a lot of fun out to Wyoming, and we're doing a antelope hunt out there, and kind of walk them through the process of buying their point and getting into the draw. And so looking forward to kind of leading that crew. That'd be a fun trip.
That'll be cool. Where are you going? What state?
It's Wyoming.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That'll be that. And I think that's pretty cool. Like you said, taking the lead on that, and it's just taking it to another step.
Yeah, and taking the lead on a hunting trip with my dad is kind of coming full circle, like
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's one of those that I wanted to be able to take my dad on a elk or antelope or something like that.
Mhm.
And I just think that, like you said, that's a cool thing that a lot of people probably don't get to experience.
Yeah, and it's an approachable hunt. I mean, my dad and my uncle aren't like in top physical shape, but we're not like, we're not camping and going 8 miles in. Like, it's going to be a lot of driving and kind of, taking 1 or 2 mile walks from the car. So it's something that's more approachable for a newer hunter or a kid or, your dad or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And I think so that thing that's really important, that you have to base it on who's going with you.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able, if they're not able to walk 5 miles, then taking them on a DIY backcountry elk or
Yeah.
something in Alaska, like it's going to be tougher.
Yeah.
But you want to make it maybe a little bit of a challenge,
Yeah.
kind of, just
But
like
enjoyable.
yes, just like any kind of, physical transformation, mental, spiritual transformation. It has to be a little bit of a challenge, or we don't want to do it really.
Yeah.
But then again, it has to be enjoyable and attainable at the same time. So it's trying to
Exactly.
find that medium pathway. That's great though. That'll be a really good hunt. Are you gonna, I'm sure you'll document that and talk about
Oh,
it in
yeah.
the podcast and everything. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I plan on making a film on that one too. So
Nice.
yeah.
So how did you get into filming the hunts? Was it just kind of a passion that you got into, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so actually, my background is in TV production. So
Okay.
I worked for the Christian Broadcasting Network for 7 years. I was a camera operator for 2 years, and then I was a producer for the 700 Club TV show. So it's kind of cool because I feel like the Lord has almost woven my path into being able to have this opportunity now to kind of take my skills and passions and combine them. And so I have really high hopes for this, project. And Lord willing, the films are going to be really awesome. So I always liked, when I was a little kid, I'd always have a video camera and making little movies and stuff like that. I was just kind of liked it. I always really enjoyed watching movies, even, and TV. And so, yeah, just actually, I did some filming for an outdoor kind of outfit here that was trying to get going a few years ago. And then from that is when I left and went to the Christian Broadcasting Network and got some actual, professional training. We traveled all over the world. I was able to shoot and produce stories in Nepal, Turkey, Thailand, Cambodia, Ecuador. And I was doing a lot of that stuff. I was doing like humanitarian disaster relief, like there'd be a earthquake or something, and I would go down with a team and document the humanitarian relief that we were providing. So just got some really awesome life experiences, as well as learned some really cool technical skills. And so, yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. And it's amazing how different passions. And I think if we really listen to who God created us to be,
Yeah.
I think there's certain things that come in our life and certain maybe paths that we take, that if we really step back and look sometimes, take a moment to really think on it, pray on it, ponder on it, we can see how these different paths have come together. I know for me, was it now 6 years ago, I had a TV show on the Pursuit
Okay.
channel, and it was a happen chance meeting. And I was invited to be a guest on the first episode. And then that ended up me being the host for
Oh,
the
cool.
show. which was a new thing for me, because like you, I enjoyed the outdoors. I enjoyed the whole video process and making videos when I was small, but I
Mm.
didn't know much about it. I learned a lot. And then after the show, we did one season, and then we started the second season, and some things happened, and we never made a complete second season. So after that, I went back just doing physical therapy. We started having kids and just kind of did my thing.
Yeah.
And but over probably the past 3 years or so, I mean, that fire in me has been like, I'm made to do more than just physical therapy in a clinic.
Yeah.
Wanting to help outdoorsmen be healthier and fit, and then kind of getting that experience I had in front
Mhm.
and behind the camera, kind of pulling that together with all my strength conditioning, physical fitness,
Yeah.
rehab, kind of pull it all together, and then being able to tell a story, even do podcasts like this, or tell things. If all these things come together, and like we talked about earlier, like I've been encouraged to kind of, I guess, share my journey as
Mhm.
I'm going from one thing to another, and how I'm trying to make life better for other people, and
Yeah.
live the full life that I was created to live. And I think it's really cool to hear stories like that of what, how you got to where you are. And I just think that's
Yeah,
really
man.
interesting. One thing I love about doing podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool to like just the path that, like you said, that God puts us on, um and yeah, man, it's just a blessing, I guess, to be able to do this stuff. And sorry, I had a thought. I just kind of lost my train of thought there.
No,
But yeah, I don't know. Oh well.
hey, it's okay, man. Like, you don't want to see what's going on up here. It's like a pop-up video, like VH1 all the time. So I do that all the time. Just freeze out, and people are like, "What, are you okay?" I was like, I had a great thought. Let me go write that down, and we'll be back.
Yeah.
But no, and being an author, being a I guess, quote unquote, content creator, and you're all, that I love writing, and I love video. I love just being able to tell stories. But you're in the process of writing your book, which
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by books. I love books, even being dyslexic and ADD. Like, I still love books. I'm so thankful for audio books now. But
Yeah, me too.
if there's a book or two, I just, because for me, being a healthy hunter, I think it's more than just the physical fitness, like we've talked about. It's also
Yep.
that spiritual, that mental side. And I think mentally, one of the best things to do is something creative, or even diving into a book. We can learn a lot from history,
Hmm.
in which we're losing a lot of the history knowledge. But are there some books that for you
Yeah.
were very influential, very impactful, books that maybe changed your life, and
Yeah.
that you would recommend to other guys, other folks, to read, to become better and become fully who they were created to be?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at my pulling up my Audible the audiobook app here, like just to,
Yeah.
to just check real quick. But yeah, so I remember what I was going to say earlier, which was that just wanted to comment on how cool it is. The when I kind of came up in hunting, there was this perception of outsiders, but even within the hunting community, of kind of good old boys, rednecks, uh, overweight guys, unhealthy. Like I said in my podcast, like drinking a beer, smoking a cig in the woods.
Yeah.
How cool it is, like this whole new kind of world of hunters becoming and being perceived as performance athletes. And such a cool evolution. But so yeah, so some books that for me have been big. It might sound cliched, but I got to start with the Bible, just because, I think there's a lot of Christians out there who think they know a lot about the Bible, but actually haven't really read it and studied it as an adult for themselves, like a free thinking adult. So I encourage guys to get on a plan to go through the Bible in a year. And I do that every year. So,
Yeah.
and then
It
going back,
comes back to that, about it, but you don't know it, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's one book called The Heavenly Man by Brother Yun. He's a Chinese Christian that came up in the underground Chinese church. Really cool book, just entertaining and awesome. Let's see. There's it's not, well, if you just I kind of gave up reading fiction books or listening to fiction books for a while, just to like, spend more time with positive nonfiction books. But The Revenant, the book, is an awesome book just for like entertainment value. There's a movie made about it, but David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me is a pretty cool book, for motivation. Let's see. I got a couple more here. There's one book that I just finished listening to that is awesome, and I really would highly recommend it. I'm actually interviewing the author of it in a couple weeks on my podcast. But it's, sorry to offend anyone out there, but the title of the book is F word, Your Feelings.
Yes.
Okay, and it's got by this guy called Ryan Muncie. And it's just an awesome book, man. It breaks down like a lot of stuff we've been talking about, just discipline and putting in the work towards your long-term goals and who you want to be despite how you might feel in the moment. And I can't really sum it up and do it justice. It's an awesome book. It's just F Your Feelings. I mean, so sorry that offends you, but it's a really good book. And I, with my Christian worldview, I see everything through that Christian lens throughout the book, and it just makes a lot of sense. And it's like, you learn a lot of these things that you can do to make yourself, you can optimize your performance and make yourself change your physiology when you don't feel like doing stuff, because maybe you feel kind of blue or whatever. And it's like, a lot of it's stuff like being outside in green spaces, like actually getting UV light into your eyes, like cold weather exposure, being in community. And I started thinking like all these things. I think this is why like I feel so, and we feel so rewarded from hunting, is because it's like the pursuit that like best challenges and helps you grow in your mind, body, and spirit all at the same time. I mean, it's physically challenging. You have to work on your mental focus. Usually you're with at least one other guy. So you got the community aspect, you're getting cold weather exposure, you're getting sunlight in your eyes, you're getting green spaces, just the physical exertion, like it's just stacking so many like beneficial things into one activity. So I think, anyway, that's an awesome book, and you should check that out.
Yeah. And I've seen a few interviews with him and
Okay.
heard about the book, and it really struck me that was something that, like you said, like we will sing, you sing the song, like I stand in awe of you, and you're talking about God. But when you're outside, if you're in the mountains, or you look up and see the starry skies, you realize like being in awe means like, I realize how small I am in this big picture.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who on his first trip to Alaska, he said, I didn't realize how big God was until I went to Alaska.
Yeah.
And I think when we're in a place like that, we realize like all the things that I think are so big, that I'm so important in this world, I really don't mean that much. Like I'm a speck of dust. I'm not a big mountain in the big scheme of things. And also on that premise, one of my favorite things is weak is he who permits his thoughts to control his actions, but a strong man will force his actions to control his feelings, and or his thoughts. And I think it's one of those things that we all tell, I don't feel like working out, I don't feel like doing it. But then if you don't feel like doing it, but if you start in that process, like you feel like doing it, and it's like you kind of got to get going and be a man of action, as old Teddy Roosevelt would say.
Yeah. There's another quote. It's like, I can act myself into believing faster than I can believe myself into acting.
Yes.
So, and that comes from actually John Lake, which is like this awesome old time minister guy. You should look into him. But anyway, but it goes along with that book that I was just talking about. It's like, think of like the person you want to be and the person you want to become, and start acting like that person. And like with every tiny decision you make in your life, say like, is this moving me closer to my goals of being the best man, the best father, the best hunter, whatever it may be? Is this little tiny decision I'm making right now making me better or moving me further away from my goals?
Exactly. Yeah. Who do you want to be? Who are you created to be? You got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And you got to know where you are, and you got to know where you want to be, just like on any other map. Where am I? Where do I want to be? And then you may not know the straight path, but you could look at the compass, your morals, your values, and like, okay, I got to go this way.
Yeah.
You take a few steps and you can reassess. But I think it's that process of getting there. But
Yeah, man.
yeah, man, Hunter, I appreciate you. I mean, your podcast where you're sharing your journey, but you're talking to great people along the way, and I really appreciate the openness and how you're sharing that with
Yeah,
other
man.
people, and I think that's very encouraging. In today, I mean, people use the vulnerability, if you will, a lot, and maybe kind of loosely, but you're being very open and honest and encouraging, which I think is something that's great, and I
Thanks,
want to
man.
thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
but before I hit you with the last question, just share with everybody where we can find you, follow you, and learn more about you and what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, man. I appreciate that. So, the podcast, is available on Spotify and Google and Apple Podcasts. It's just called Hunter's Quest. Um, and it's kind of a play on words 'cause that's my name, but I don't want it to sound like it's just about me and my journey, because it's not. Like you said, it's about my journey, but it's how I can help others. So the play on words is kind of like the hunter's quest. So it's not just my quest, it's all of our quest. Even if you're not into hunting per se, I think it's still valuable. But so on Instagram it's just hunters quest underscore, and on Facebook, the Hunters Quest podcast. And then I have a website, thisishuntersquest.com. And so right now it's just the podcast, fairly new, but getting some really good response so far. And then I will be adding the YouTube channel. Like I said, I'm doing a film, this Kodiak Island blacktail hunt, as well as the Wyoming antelope hunt. So look out for that stuff coming on YouTube. And then eventually down the road, I'll be putting out this book too, but that's still just, I'm probably about halfway done writing it. So those are the main places that you can find me.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm excited to hear about the book. Like I said, I'm working on some stuff myself on the
Cool, man.
book side, and I love the video side of things, the storytelling, and it'd be awesome to I may have to off camera, off the podcast, kind of pick your brain on
Sure, yeah.
some video things and some storytelling things, because I want to get better at the craft. So I may have to
Yeah,
pick
man.
your brain on that.
Sure,
But
anytime.
yeah, but for the last and final question,
Mm-hmm.
uh, this is one of those. There's no rules. There's no limitations at all. So those
All
are my
right.
kind of, yeah. That's, and so just throw all the rules out. So it's your dream hunt. You get to go anywhere. You get to hunt anything. You get to take any weapon you want. But probably most importantly, you get to take anyone you want with you.
Mm.
So this can be future, past, present. It doesn't really matter. It's all up to you. Your dream hunt. Where are you going? Who are you taking? What are you going after?
Wow, that's a tough one. So I don't know. The thing that comes to mind first, as far as species, is Dall sheep, Alaskan Dall sheep. Um, and the cool thing about it is, well, if you're an Alaska resident, you can hunt Dall sheep anytime you want, which is amazing. If you're not, you do by law have to have a guide. Um, so any kind of sheep I would love to do, any kind of bighorn sheep. It's a super hard hunt to kind of get. And I've looked into getting a guide for Alaska. Price tags around 20 grand to do that hunt. So and something about those, where they live, and just something about those white, like magical looking critters, man. They just kind of they just look awesome to me. So Oh man, I'd probably do sheep. Um, who I would go with? Wow, one comes to mind just randomly. Teddy Roosevelt. I feel like would be awesome to like just get to know that guy a little bit. Um, you know, trying to think who else might be a good one. Um, yeah, I'll just go with that one, Teddy Roosevelt.
I mean, like, who else would you want to
Seems like he'd be a
spend?
pretty
Like,
cool guy to spend time with.
yeah, like, I mean, like, let's spend 2 weeks chasing Dall sheep with Teddy Roosevelt. I mean, uh, yeah,
That sounds
uh,
cool.
yeah, I guarantee you that he ain't going to give up, and you're going to be challenged and pushed, and you're going to hear a couple good stories along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll probably think of like 5 more people that come to mind, and we get off the call, but that was just the first one that popped up and sounds like a good one to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite questions because it's one of those, kind of a magic genie in a bottle kind of thing. It's, it's like you can do whatever you want to. And so
Yeah.
it's always interesting to see where people go with that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, man, Hunter, I'm gonna cut you loose, man. I know you got stuff to do, and I really appreciate you coming on,
Yeah, man. Thanks for
sharing.
having me.
Yeah, man. I mean, you shared a lot about being fit and healthy, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And I really
Hmm.
appreciate your opening up and sharing how you've overcome obstacles, how you've pushed through some hard times and you're better. And now you're even sharing that with other people. And that means a lot. I really commend you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Love what you're doing too. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, just it's worth it. So it takes some hard work, but get your spirit right first, and then just go for it, man. Like you only got one life to live. Just live it to the fullest.
I love it, man. Live it to the fullest. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Be humble, stay hungry, and get healthy. Boom.
Someone's gonna